Good, but now we are coming to the Enabler panel, which is moderated by my dear colleague, Professor Rajneesh Tiwari. Rajneesh, he just recently became a full professor at Fresenius University of Applied Sciences here in Hamburg. We have been working together for a long, long time. We have done research together with a focus on India, innovation management in India. Rajneesh, he's also heading the German-Indian Roundtable here in Hamburg, and it's my pleasure to support him in this. And so he's a profound expert on different areas, including, of course, innovation management and entrepreneurship. And welcome, and I hand over the micro to you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Stefan. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and dear colleagues here, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this event from the side of the India Week Hamburg. This is one of the concluding events of the India Week Hamburg. And it's my pleasure to be here for a very wonderful event, because not just as an organizer, but I have been really enjoying this event so far. I have learned so many new things. And as Stefan just mentioned, at German-Indian Roundtable Hamburg, at my work in the TU Hamburg, or now at the Fresenius, we have always tried to intensify our support for collaboration between India and Germany, so that like this entrepreneurial spirit that came out in the talk of Julian just a few minutes back of our both countries, it can be channelized into an innovative outlet, so that products, technologies, business models, solutions come up that are resource savvy, that are that fulfill the criteria of affordable green excellence. And I think there has never been a greater potential for this in the past than it is today. And this morning it was mentioned that now we have about 25,000 students from India. When I came to Hamburg in 1998, there were 600 Indian students in whole Germany. Today we have that many number just in Hamburg. So there is a lot of potential. There are many people with interesting ideas, with the capabilities and with the connection. And we have heard some of them. And I think it's our privilege today that we also have the enablers sitting around here, because we have also heard from Peter Kabel this morning that the ecosystem plays a very important role, especially when we are talking about Indian students or any international student, or in fact even domestic students who want to start their own ventures. They need some support. They need financing. They need some support in dealing with let's say like regulatory challenges that come up almost necessarily. So it's my pleasure, my privilege to have amongst us today 3 enablers in the Hamburg or Indo-German settings who deal with these startups in their day-to-day life. I welcome Lily Ong from Hamburg Invest, who has already been mentioned for the great support, fantastic support that she has enabled. Amongst us, Julian Six, who is leading the GINSEP program supported by the federal government of Germany, and Johannes Berg, who is the managing director of Digital Hub Logistics. So first of all, a very warm welcome. Thank you for being here. And may I request you to kindly introduce yourself briefly?
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Raj. And good morning from my side. Yes, I'm Johannes Berg. I'm the managing director of the Digital Hub Logistics. And in that function, I'm, so to say, an enabler for everybody who wishes to take a few steps into the logistical innovation ecosystem to push for product, process, or business model innovations along the logistical supply chain. And we do this here in Hamburg, but we have an open heart to the world, so to say, and everybody who wishes to have a safe anchorage for those innovations is always welcome here in Hamburg in the Digital Hub Logistics.
Thanks. Yes, I'm Lily, and I'm working for the Hamburg Invest. Hamburg Invest is the official investment board of the city of Hamburg. We help international companies to set up their base here in Hamburg by providing all sort of services. We give free consultations about company formations, visa inquiries, site selections, as well as local business information. At the same time, we promote Hamburg as an innovative location, as a leading trading hub, as well as hotspots for startups. I was born in Malaysia. I work and I live in Singapore before I moved to Hamburg, and I have been living here for the past 18 years. And also, I have been working for Hamburg Invest that long. I'm currently the project director for international investment for the region South Asia with focus in India and Southeast Asia with focus of Singapore.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. I introduced myself earlier already briefly and talked about GINSEP, so maybe just in 2-3 lines. I'm Julian, so I'm based out of Berlin with GINSEP, German Startup Exchange Program, active Germany-wide here, and so I'm in that role now since almost 3.5 years, and before that I lived in India for roughly 5 years and was working in different projects there as well. And now I'm really excited to support German startups on the way to India and Indian startups to come over here, and also motivate more and more students to come here. And it's great to see them starting up, and really great to see so much more activities happening in the Indo-German context. That is definitely much more than when I started with my work in India close to 10 years ago. Yeah, so it's really great to see.
Yeah, Julian, then we remain with you. And I was doing some research in this year. We wrote a report for BMBF about the innovation activities going on in India. And we saw that the startup scene in India has become really dynamic in the previous few years. And it's not just about the unicorn companies, that number which has been shooting up. India has emerged, the estimates vary, but like the third or the fourth largest startup ecosystem around the world. And you, as the team lead or project lead for GINSEP, what is your experience? What are the opportunities that are arising in the landscape of Indian startup systems? And where do you see the potential for India and Germany to collaborate?
I think, well, absolutely. I think anyone who has been to India and has been to these metros, but also smaller, vibrant cities there, or doing business in India, sees and knows or has experienced the passion, and not only the passion, but also this creativity, this innovation mindset, and also the focus on to do something, to really do something and try it out. So more of, let's say, the startup mindset that we usually think of, what is the US, the American mindset, that is much more common in India. Also to try something out, no matter what, very passionately. Of course, then also really many talented people. You have great universities, so you have many entrepreneurs around, and some people also tell me, and I think that makes perfect sense to me, because startup is all about trying out and failing, as we know, right? And in India, they say, well, there's so many things around you in everyday life that don't work, right? So you have to find a solution. You are used to things that are not in place and do not work seamlessly, right? So that helps you to be helps you in an entrepreneurial mindset. Rather than, or on the contrary, you have then in the opposite, you have in Germany, well, things are in place. We like to have our things in place. Let's say rather conservative, rather old school, perfectionistic, right? So trying out and failing is not really, let's say, doesn't really go really well in line with the German cultural mindset. Of course, both of the approaches also have the advantages, and this is why I think it's a great match to have like this innovation driven thinking approach of really doing something, going out there. In India, sometimes doing the second step before the first, but the Germans very risk averse, not doing the steps at all because they want to be overly, really, really certain and sure that it is the right step. So I think this can be a great combination. Then, of course, also digital solutions from India where they're really, really progressive and advanced. That is exactly what is missing over here. But maybe then the German engineering and the qualities of that, combined with the Indian digital solutions, is also a perfect solution. So I really think there's lots of potential in the startup field, but also matching startups and corporates there.
So, like you say, the role of cultural uncertainty avoidance, for instance, in Germany can sometimes also hinder innovations, but it can also provide some very basic, let's say, safety mechanisms for innovations. And in India, there is a trend, or at least a high willingness to try out things. But also the market has so many things, so many challenges that you need to master, because it's an unsaturated market. There are so many challenges which can be turned into opportunities. So probably that is the fundament.
Absolutely,
underneath the-
absolutely. And then also how diverse the Indian market is, right? So it's not a homogeneous country or market at all in India. So, well, you have different states in India, meaning also different cultures. And also kind of different ecosystems, right? We heard already Bangalore is completely different from smaller Indian places, tier 2 cities, and definitely one should not overlook these cities. There are these upcoming places like Indore, where Germans won't even know where to place these, locate these cities. That should be really on the radar to also see, you know, for the next entrepreneur that could also come to Germany, for definitely. So it really goes beyond the metros in India as well.
And at the before I go to Lily and Johannes, one more question about the trends at the national level. Can you tell us, are there many startup partnerships between India and Germany, and who is typically like collaborating with Germany from India?
Yes, we see trends. We're at GINSEP are sector agnostic. So basically, whoever is active can also, you know, is welcome to reach out to us. Having said that, we have some focal areas based on the startup activities, right? So, and what makes sense is industrial IoT. We have many solutions or many startups with solutions in that field. Then health, of course, right now, particularly mobility or transportation in general, that is there. But so these are the main areas. But we see also more and more startups that are really active in social enterprises, or also impact startups. So that is also a big field, and that is of course across these sectors, across mobility and health. But I guess industrial IoT, I would say, is one of the really booming one. Of course, logistics and robotics and these things also come under that.
Very interesting. And Lily, if I might come back to you now, do you have similar trends in Hamburg, or do you observe something different from what is happening at the national level?
Definitely, Raj. Maybe I'll just give you a little bit introductions about our landscape and who are the Indian companies that are currently based in Hamburg. So currently we have around 60 Indian companies based in Hamburg. And we see the increased numbers of startups coming in during the past 5 years. So those 60 companies are ranging from big corporations like Tata, Gujarat Fluorochemicals, to TKMs, to some SMEs like global trading companies, as well as we do have around 9 startups currently based in Hamburg. Those startups are usually offering their digital solutions to their customers here. So this is what India has been doing very great. And I must say that India is no longer just a country that is actually that is a great importer for basmati rice, for spices or tea, but also tech. And we have to reimagine the landscape, the tech landscape. And I see that there are lots of collaborations opportunities. And maybe later I can give some introductions about what are the landscapes in Hamburg, what matches to India. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Lily. And now I come to to Johannes. It has already been mentioned, digital tech, digital transformation is one of the core characteristics of Indian startups right now. You are the managing director of Digital Hub Logistics. Do you see some similar trends, or do you have some Indian startups in your logistics hub here?
Yes, Raj, it's unfortunately I can only speak indeed for logistics and supply chain. So for one very dedicated ecosystem in Hamburg. I counted earlier on, we have at the moment 62 startups along the logistical value chain residing here at the Digital Hub. And out of these 62, 6 have Indian team members, Indian employees. So if you may say so, 10% of the startups here in the Digital Hub Logistics have some way or another a link to India. We've also seen one Indian startup in the container management field, so rather the maritime logistics sector from India really coming to the hub and saying, hey, we want to grow the team here. We want to grow out of Hamburg into Germany and Europe. So that basically resembles everything that we have heard, I think, earlier on as well. And what I would like to tap into is what we've heard from the founders, from the startups earlier on. And I think we have here 3 advocates for that as well. There are many consultants who say, hey, give us a share of your startup and we bring you to Hamburg and we help you grow. I would like to advocate to all Indian startups or developers or interested innovators, look for dedicated places like the Digital Hub is one for logistics, where you can try out things without really having the pressure to right away become a unicorn, where you can also tap into different cultural settings. What we've seen here in a couple of startups is that it worked very well to combine some Indian expertise with a co-founder from Germany. And yeah, I'm of course looking forward to see how that will develop in the year to come. And maybe we can go and visit India one day again, but let's see how the situation evolves.
Yeah, that we remain very hopeful for that. And I'll remain with you for the moment. I've seen that TUHH is also one of the partners for you. And TUHH has quite a bit of focus on logistics and a large number of Indian students. And do you have some tips for Indian students, or like how maybe they can get more into this startup mode?
So, as I tried to describe earlier, we are a very open place. If there wasn't this little virus, we would be even more open and would have even more events going on. And there are lots of teams from TUHH, but also from other universities in Hamburg that come after their degree and say, we want to found a country. We have the support by different city initiatives and bodies, and we will start for 1 year and we want to come into the Digital Hub. That also means that all these startups at some point of time will need new human brain power, new human resources, and you can find all of the information online. We have a community app that is easily accessible. So maybe it would be a stupid saying to say, don't be shy, you shy, you die, but don't be shy to all students at TUHH, and for this event in particular to our Indian students. Just come by, just look around. We have a job wall where all of our startups are frequently looking for people, and I think that's an easy way forward.
Thank you, Johannes. And Lily, if I might ask you about the overall generic trend in Hamburg, because what Johannes said was more specific to logistics. Do you see some development or some trend of Indian students who are in Hamburg going for their own ventures, trying out some new things? Have you made some observations in this regard?
Yes, definitely. We do have a few I wouldn't say a lot, but I would have say maybe a few, 2 or 3 startups. They finished their studies, they decided to stay in Hamburg, and they started their own startups. So we heard from you earlier on how many Indian students are actually in Hamburg, and I must say that as a student, you have lots of opportunities, and all students in Germany, you are allowed to work 20 hours per week. So make use of the time. You can use these 20 hours to work in the restaurants, or you can really use this time to work for corporations to gain some hands-on experiences. And then later, maybe when you're ready, you would like to set up your own startup. That is possible. As a student, you can even set up a startup right in the middle of your studies. So as long as you get some capitals and proofs of concepts, then you can set up your own startups. You just have to go to the Ausländerbehörde, which is the foreign authority, to add in one clause that is the sections 21. And after that, all students have around 18 months time to look for a job. So make use of this time, because during this time you're allowed to work in the restaurant if you wish, to gain some money to support your studies, or you can even go out and work for a corporate. This is generally a job seeking visa. So during this time, maybe you're meeting somebody else and you decided to set up a startup, and that is also possible. So then later, maybe you are being employed by a corporate, and you just simply change your visa to either an employment pass or a blue card. And if you are happy enough and you would like to set up a startups, then just do that, because it is all about you, what you want to do. And all the students have this 18 months times after their studies to try something out. So make use of this time.
Great tip from you, Lily. And I think there is one question to Julian, but I think it's a rather easy one. Is there any similar platform like Hamburg Invest in Berlin to support new founders? Julian, do you want to say something?
Yeah, basically every state or every city-state also, they have their own initiative to support. In Berlin, it's called Berlin Partner. So you can reach out to me and I can connect you, or you can also check Berlin Partner website directly, reach out to them.
Great. And now coming back to our core discussions, we heard from the panel before us about certain challenges that you face in finding the right persons, maybe, or we heard that it was relatively easy to found a company here, etc. What are, Julian, your experiences when you deal with startup companies in India, and if they wish to come to Germany? What are the typical challenges that they face in your observation?
Generally, I would call it lack of orientation. So Germany is very decentralized, organized in a very decentralized way, just like India, and is therefore different compared to the UK, where you just say like, well, of course, you got to go to London, right? And over here, you really need to do your research. But fortunately, you can do that from home as well. You really need to do your research to see, okay, what does the market look like? Who are the players? What is the regions? But the players also in terms of competitors, or also potential customers, or also cooperation partners from corporates, or maybe also research institutes, you name it. So it really takes quite some time to figure out what the best location could be for you, or figure out where the most important players are there for you. And then from there, starting your network slowly. Attend events, a network, yes, online, it's not easy, but build your network slowly. And then through that network, you get the expertise, you meet other startups that are in the field through places like the logistics hub. Well, of course, there you have already access to the corporates, but also the other startups in that field. So you get really, really hands-on and best insights in that particular field. So that is what I always recommend to the startups there. But yeah, everyone has to do their homework, and you can do that research from your desk and figure it out. So that's what we actually found out now during the pandemic, that we offered some digital delegations, and it turns out that this is really, really helpful. Of course, it's nice to travel and eventually really need to travel and see and meet, but it really helps also to save many resources. And we set up this 11 sessions, really 11 steps to enter the German market. And do it digitally, and that is really, really cost effective for everyone to do it. Of course, we have the government support to also offer this at free cost, but that helps a lot to shed some light and for some initial orientation for the startup founders. Yeah.
That sounds like a very interesting idea, digital delegation. I never heard of it, and it sounds very appealing to me. And it's also sort of a frugal solution, affordable, green excellence without actually moving. You can observe it. Can you explain it a bit? How does it work? And if our audience, someone out of our audience wants to take part into it, how it could probably work out?
So actually, we did it for the first time last year. We organized it, and then we had also, to be honest, it's a learning by doing also for us, and trial and error. We organized many sessions, and then, well, the attention span to attend all the session was also is also different, right? In online sessions, so we opened it to many startups to just attend the session. And then you see then some people drop out, and we simply also organized too many sessions. So it was really, we also expected too much, because we thought we have much more time at hand. Digitally, you can put 5 sessions per day, on one day, and offline you would say first half of the day you visit that place, second half we have some networking, and that's it, right? So, and then we really made it into 10 or now 11 steps of really different topics of understanding the regions, then understanding, expert talks, then fundraising, then pitch training, then about the business communication and culture in Germany. That really helps a lot for the startups that are really motivated and really want to take away the best from it. Lily was also speaking there, of course, representing Hamburg, to get some ideas there. We have good success stories from the last cohort that we took. Now, unfortunately, the application deadline has passed already for the next trip that is coming end of November now. But please stay tuned, because next year we might be able to offer another trip together with our partners.
Okay, perfect. Maybe even I would like to join one of the delegation events and be there with you. Yeah, that would be.
There's the demo day where all the startups of the delegations will pitch. That is on 6th of December.
Okay, great. Yeah, 6th of December. I'll keep note of it. And Lily, if I come back to you, we heard from Julian about some challenges that we face in general or at the national level. What about Hamburg? Are there certain Hamburg-specific challenges and chances, what you observe in the field of Indo-German startup collaboration?
In the past few weeks, I received quite a number of inquiries from India, especially during the India weeks, and people started to write to me through LinkedIn, and then they started to send their pitch deck to me. And I was wondering, why are they sending the pitch deck to me? Then they asked me questions like, Lily, you are working with the Hamburg Invest, and what are you investing in? Okay. I said, I'm sorry, I think there is a big misunderstanding here. I'm not investing in any startups, but we are the promotion agency for the city of Hamburg. We have startups to set up their base here. And of course, I'm not alone. I have my startup unit with me. We are in the big teams, Hamburg Invest. So startup units is giving free consultations for startups who would like to start their business in Hamburg. And also YOTA, Young Talents. I have another team of colleagues who's helping young entrepreneurs and students who actually, when they finish their study, where they can do, what can they go, all those kind of free consultations. And the challenges is that I realized that I received quite a lot of inquiries from India, and a lot of them, they are only looking for 3 things. Investor, how can I get fundings, and how can I get my customers? And those things you have to do it yourself, because I will be a connector. I'm happy to introduce my network to you, but you have to do your own homework. You have to get at least 1 or 2 business cases before you come to expand your business to Europe. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. Otherwise, you won't even get your visa. That is the whole point. You know, you have to get 1 or 2 business cases and proof of concept. And once you are matured enough, then you can expand to Germany.
And by the way, like those investment companies, organizations, they also do exist in India, for instance, India Invest. So they are not really investing themselves, rather they are promoting investment in a particular location. So just to clarify that term. And obviously you are not market consulting, rather your job is to promote Hamburg for investments and to get to attract investors from around the world for the city of, or the metropolitan region of Hamburg. I'm not sure whether it's just the city or it's the, okay. And do you also have some programs which are maybe more targeted at international students, from which maybe also the Indian students can benefit?
Yes, definitely. In Hamburg, I mean, the ecosystem is manifold. We do have a lot of programs. As far as I know, that Be Your Pilot is one of the great programs that actually are collaborations with 4 universities together with 1 research centers, DAISY and Hamburg Innovation. So they give free consultations to startups who like to dive in their technologies, as well as, you know, to make their visions a dream comes true. So those are organizations you can always get in touch with. And I have some other examples, you know, like the Hamburg Business Administration, School of Hamburg Administrations. They also have this innovations hub, Square Innovations. They help their entrepreneurs to skill. And if you take a look at Digital Campus, the Hammer Brooklyn Center, they have a youth center. They are helping also young entrepreneurs to develop their ideas. And at the same time in Hamburg, we also have Fab Lab. For young students, you know, not everybody have 3D printers at home or laser cutters. So you can always go there and speak to Andreas, and he will help you develop your ideas. So those are some great examples that they could tap into. And I'm happy to say that Hamburg Invest and our partners, maybe, we're going to have a landing pad program next year. And we're currently still developing it, but stay tuned. You know, we are happy to offer this kind of programs to Indian startups.
Okay. And maybe before I come with my question to Johannes, I just read the question which has come up in the discussion here. I currently live in Germany, but plan to go to India in a few years to start my company. Is it advisable to obtain a PR before I go back? Does it help? Who of you wants to say something about that? PR, I'm presuming it's permanent residence.
If you are living in Germany, if you plan to go to India, I think, how are you going to get a PR? I mean, there is 2 different things. So
I guess PR does not help you much, because PR is always valid only if you do not leave the country for more than 6 months at a go. So if you are going to a third country, whatever country it is, if you do not come back within 6 months, your PR is gone anyway, as far as I know. So that doesn't help much. Yeah, yeah. And Johannes, now I would like to know from you, because it was a very impressive figure, 10% of your startups here have an India connection. What's in your dealings, maybe, like, have you observed something which is very characteristic of those Indian companies? Maybe the challenges, maybe there are special challenges, maybe there are some special value propositions. So is there something which is different about them?
Before I come to your question and answer that, I would like to stress one more point that Lili has mentioned. The expectation that you can digitally access all of our services and then basically build a sales arm into Germany or into Hamburg while still sitting only in India and let us do all the work. that doesn't work. And that's also one thing that hints already towards my answer to your question, is that I've seen a couple of startups every now and again who say, oh, wow, you have this network and you have all these big corporations with global names in your partner network. Here is our pitch deck. We want to sell them our software. Please let us know when we can have a chat, and then we'll earn some money. This is not how it can work. You really need a longer term dedication to it if you establish in the German market, because the corporations or the possible clients that we have, and only talking for maritime and logistics here, they also want to see some longer term dedication than just throwing a software over and working with it. But let me end on that point on a positive fact. Lily has mentioned all students, they can work and earn some money for 20 hours over a week. And I see there a great opportunity for Indian startups who are saying, hey, we want to join Julian's programs, but we also want to get a little bit more intelligence, a little bit more on-ground feeling of what is going on in Hamburg. How are different logistical topics being played? Why not hire a working student? They don't cost that much, and let them be the pathfinder for you in a city like Hamburg. So that was my long answer to not even your question. So I come back to your question. I can only echo what Julian has said, that the Indian spirit is more like, let's try out things, let's try out new things, let's improve process A, let's improve process B. While many Indian startups or innovators that I've seen here in the hub remain very humble about what they are actually doing, a little bit introvert at most times, looking around, having these 90% of German or other international people running around. So therefore, I have seen it always as beneficial to connect with other people who are here, not only from with a German background, but with international backgrounds. And there, this Indian dedication, that spirit of, hey, there's nothing that we can't improve with our digital mindset. That is a real added value, and the steadiness, the dedication, really helps these 6 startups that I've mentioned. But as always, for us as well, when Lili and me visited Mumbai a couple of years ago, we also faced some cultural challenges. But I think if you go into with an open mindset and say, hey, every also cultural challenge can end with an enlightenment, then everything is possible.
That would be great to achieve an enlightenment. With
Oh
that,
yeah,
right?
okay. That's maybe I'm looking into the light here, so maybe that's why I'm saying enlightenment.
No, but that's
Yeah.
a beautiful idea. I love it. And Johannes, do you have some support program? Like, I don't mean in terms of financial support, etc., but in terms of network expanding, network creation, where students, not just from India, but from anywhere, even maybe outside Hamburg, can sometimes join you and interact with people?
Yes. However, we don't have a really structured, dedicated 6 or 9 month program, as we believe that each and every startup is different in its goals and also in its needs. So we try to offer a very broad variety of events, of matchmaking formats, of individual consultations when needed, to help every single startup differently. And we've, over the last 2 years, of course, done a lot of digital event formats where people can join. We have on our homepage a subscription link to our newsletter where you get a monthly idea of what events are happening. And as I said earlier, when I talked about the students, whenever there's a need or interest, just approach us. And we may not always be the right contact point, but we have excellent contact points within the city of Hamburg, which we then contact. And I think in many cases that has been very fruitful.
Thank you. Then let's move on to Lily, because Johannes has a very specific portfolio and you have a more generic portfolio. What is your support system, Lily? What can you offer to students, international students especially, and maybe Indian students who have entrepreneurial ambitions, let's say?
Yes. As I mentioned before, we belong to the city of Hamburg. We give free consultations on every aspect if you want to form a company, or simply just book an appointment with me, with my startup unit, come for a coffee, and we can discuss about where you're going, what you're doing, what you're planning, because we are free of charge. So make use of the resources. That's the things. Instead of paying tons of money, you go for consultants, go for lawyer. Sometimes you can solve it, and you just need some advisors. So please have an appointment with all of us, and we will see how we can help you. I see myself as a connector. If you come to me, I will connect you to all my networks wherever I can, because I'm not able to know everything myself. Therefore, come to me and I will connect you to my network. And also see myself as a hunter. I travel once a year to India and I'll scout for mature startups that exist, that who could expand to Hamburg. And therefore, I'm really grateful that we are also part of the GINSEP network, and we collaborate in some events, and we help Indian startups to enter the German market.
So you provide a support system. You don't
Yes, we give
take over all responsibility for all functions for them,
I would
right?
say we give guidance, and
Right,
if you get lost, if you do not know where to go, we give orientations.
Yeah. So, Julian, before I come to you, maybe just again this follow-up question on this immigration issue. Is there a way to inform immigration offices that I'll be out of Germany for more than 6 months due to startup work and still be able to hold the PR? I guess we are not immigration experts here, so we should not be giving you a very concrete advice. I believe it might be possible in some exceptional cases, but I don't know whether it's something regular.
Maybe you want to get in touch of the Welcome Center, because they are the right person to answer all your questions.
And Julian, if you could simply add to what Lily was saying about the support system which is provided by GINSEP, that would be very beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Lily said, we are connected with the different, let's say, enablers throughout Germany. And I always recommend to startups, of course, to have the idea or to get an understanding of what is out there in Germany, but also in the different regions. And the area that has the best, let's say, offer, and I'm not talking about, well, it's the cheapest to set up your office, but is kind of most attractive for you, most relevant for you. And with that one, you should go for, or maybe you shortlist 2 or 3, and then you're in contact and you see what suits best, what fits your requirements the best. So that's what we are trying. So we're trying to guide them, guide the startups a little bit on their orientation. I used the term orientation earlier, so for them to bring some orientation to them, but also many. But we're also sharing many opportunities, calls for applications for incubators or accelerators in Germany, or different programs that are there from different things. So we always share that on our website, also on our LinkedIn, where international startups, or in that case Indian startups, can also apply. So we really want to be that platform to bring together all the different organizations, but also then the opportunities for the startups, that they know, okay, there is a great opportunity for me. Let's apply. They currently have a call for application for, I don't know, some prizes, some funds, or I mean, corporates are of course also always hunting for startups. So we are consolidating all these offers there, and then. Besides that, of course, some capacity building, different events that we do. I mentioned the demo days. We have pitch events as well. So the best is really to check out the website and subscribe to the newsletter, and of course follow us on LinkedIn, because there we're sharing all the things that we are organizing, but of course also our partner is organizing.
And one thing that goes through my mind is we have heard in the panel before ours that it is very useful to have German partners. And if you think of the students, then if you are studying in a German university, you would, of course, also have many German students or European students. Do you have an advice for them how they can maybe find out good Indian potential startup co-founders? Maybe not just in the German universities, but also within India.
Yeah, I think, of course, online. What one can do is attend events, right? Of course, online events to build a network, slowly build a network, and meet some people there. But of course, the thing is like where to start, what to do. So indeed, it's quite a challenge. I think, of course, what is easier if you are already in that other country, or you have established some connect through maybe a client, a potential client, maybe cooperation partner. Of course, the students that are here already mingle and attend some network events, some startup events, to really get, on the one hand, meet relevant people, on the other hand, of course, also get new ideas, right? So get ideas on what is out there, understand the market or the ecosystem better, and I think that helps. But at this point, we have to focus on digital events and try to make the best of it. But I think the more you research and get an understanding of what is out there, the easier it also is to establish your network in that field, because you can attend very specific events, right? And then it's important to be proactive, and not just sending out pitch decks, but be proactive and really that one can see, one is really putting like there's a genuine interest in not just a standardized email.
So maybe one final question to all of you with request for a quick answer. It's like, Julian, maybe we can begin with you, if it's okay. Right now you need water. If there would be one measure that you would recommend for promoting this Indo-German partnership in startups, which we have not talked about maybe so far, what would that be?
To the Germans out here, don't overlook India. Definitely don't don't underestimate India. And make use of the Indians that are here. Get them, on board as employees. They might be also really good for looking to the Indian market later on for you. So that I think is a really important point. And then, of course, also to the Indians, do your homework, do some research, and then reach out to really respective players like Logistics Hub, or like Lily here at Hamburg Invest, or also, of course, Ginsep. So this is how it starts, and from there we can build something really, really nice, and really keep this focus on maybe Indo-German, like a cooperation between the two teams, or with an international team of Indians and Germans. So keep that as a focus, because that seems to be very fruitful.
Thank you. And Lily, what would be on your wish list?
Oh yes, Raj, thank you for these questions. I think Christmas is coming around. I have a lot of wishes. And if I could just have one wish, I wish to have more female founders in the startups world. Women are great in tech, and especially Indian women. I met so many students, so many female students in the last few weeks, and they all are highly educated. They are great in, they are doing engineering, medicines, or IT. They are coming from IT sectors, so they are really, really great. So we have to promote women. We have to have more women in the startup world to promote openness, to promote diversities and competitiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. Johannes.
I think from the looking from the German side to India, I can only say to all German startups, India is worth it, not only because of the fantastic food, but because of the fact that the Indian way of making business and looking at things isn't that far away from the German way of doing things. And I think for the Indian side, looking to Germany, we've heard many positive examples and aspects today. Just try out. I think these 2 hours have given many points of entry for how you can enter the German and in particular the Hamburg market. So you are cordially welcome, and wishing you a good rest of the year.
Yes, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for these very insightful comments and this discussion that we have had. It has been a pleasure for me to speak with you, and I also learned quite a lot. And I hope we can continue with such discussions and such events, maybe also in future. And Stefan, we are back to the back to square one, where we were all sitting, all 5 of us. So I hand over to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Raj. Thank you very much, Johannes, Lili, Julian. We are already at the end. Hard to believe, but time was flying.